Auckland Airport Emergency Service, AES, plays a key role at Auckland Airport, employing more than 50 firefighters who are responsible for providing and maintaining rescue and firefighting capability at the airport. AES, the largest privately owned fire brigade in the country, responds to a huge range of emergency situations across the over 1,500 hectares that makes up the Auckland Airport precinct. Neil Swailes, Chief AES Officer at Auckland International Airport, joins us now to talk about the Auckland Airport Emergency Service, who are currently recruiting for their 2022 intake. Neil joined AES as a teenager and recently celebrated 25 years with Auckland Airport. Neil joins us now on Pacific Days for more. Good afternoon. Thank you for your time today, Neil. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you, Brian. Great intro, actually. You've probably stolen a lot of the words right out of my mouth. So, yeah, as Brian said, team, Auckland Airport own and operate the largest private fire brigade in the country, which is quite an unknown fact. So, here today, just to provide some exposure to the possibility of careers out at Auckland Airport and sort of discuss a little bit about the activities we do and the requirements to get there. So, as Brian already alluded to, we're about to go into an intake for recruits. So, we're currently running a series of preparatory boot camps or practice days. And I'm sure Brian and I will talk a little bit more, but we'd really love to get all of the community along to those because we realise as a service that the best way we can work with the community is to be as rich and diverse as the community we work with. So, yeah,
Very
happy to
good.
answer any questions, Brian.
Most definitely. And Neil, firstly, congratulations, celebrating 25 years. Well, you must have joined when you were 3 because you're looking very young and sprightly there. How did the whole journey for you come about joining AES?
Yeah, Brian. So, like many others, I didn't know the airport ran a fire brigade. They actually ran an ad in the New Zealand Herald back in the day, and my mother picked it up and she saw it and she said, "I'm sick of you working in a labouring centre. Get out and get along there and try out." And honestly, I can tell you, 25 years, it could have been 3 years ago. I've loved every day, and every day is new and exciting. So, it hasn't felt like a long career.
And a very big thank you to Mum indeed as well. So very good indeed. Now, Neil, with regards to Auckland Emergency Service, tell us more about the roles and responsibilities for anyone that's flying out of the international airport. I've seen a number of times myself. I don't know if it's the big red shed or yellow and red shed that you're located right there on the runway, but I always wondered to myself, man, I wonder what those guys do.
Yeah, yeah. So aviation rescue fire is a fantastic thing, actually, Brian. And we're lucky enough at Auckland that we get to be ambassadors to the country. And we do that not only by the provision of firefighting for aircraft coming in, but we also actually look after firefighting for the buildings on the landowning of the airport. So as you said, that's 1,500 hectares, home to some 50,000 people at certain times. But not only do we do those activities, we also take care of medical response. So we do the first response for the ambulance service type activity on the airport before handing over to St. John. And we also cover search and rescue throughout the Manukau Harbour as a professional service. So,
So there's a lot of different, facets to the service that you provide, of course, Neil. Now, so currently you're looking, for new recruits or a new intake with boot camps coming up in April. When we're looking at recruits, what is it that you're looking at in terms of maybe characteristics or, physical requirements as well, please, Neil?
yeah, certainly, Brian. So I think straight off the bat, we do have some regulatory requirements, but they're fairly basic. So we have to put them through Civil Aviation Authority medicals, and we do have to require a driver's license. But other than that, the recruiting and selection piece is really handed over to us as a business to run. What we look for attitude over aptitude, if you like. So we don't need prior history of fire brigade or ambulance. We do need you to turn up wanting to be there, wanting to work as part of a team, and really wanting to learn every day and put yourself into helping improve people coming into the country and being an ambassador for the nation.
And like the old adage goes, Neil, your attitude determines your altitude, and very appropriate working out of the airport, of course. Now, in terms of the boot camps that you've got coming up, how many, and what's involved as part of the boot camps or preparatory boot camps?
Yeah, great question, Brian. So throughout history, we've understood that the physical test requirements are a difficult thing to attain for many, but they do form a standard that keeps everyone safe. So we have to maintain those. Um, Previously, we couldn't actually give people exposure because of the security nature of the airport. So we couldn't bring them in and give them hands-on ability to try parts of the test. This year, we've been able to set up a series of boot camp days, which allow us to set up the test in a facility that's on the airport, but not in a security zoned area. And we're able to bring people in via bookings and actually run them through the entirety of the test. So they're not just reading it on paper, Brian. They get the opportunity to drag, to climb, to carry, to crawl, and just see what it takes to meet the required standards. So it really is an asset to being able to get to that final physical test and put yourself up there for selection.
For you, Neil, 25 years, celebrating this year, what is it that you love about the job and which has kept you there, over about a quarter of a century now?
Yeah, so I've been there my whole adult life. But I think when I look back, I can remember as a child going to the airport, and the airport's one of those places that has strong connections for many of us. We've welcomed far now, welcomed family in that way, seen them off. Yeah, it just creates strong ties, and it's a very dynamic and interesting place to work, just as the airport as a whole. And then when you delve down into the emergency service, and you get to go to call outs, where, be it medical or fire, where people are having probably the worst day of their life. They're wanting to get on a plane and they've broken an arm or something, and there's so many barriers in the way. And we get to swoop in and pick them up and be the heroes of that situation and really turn around something that could have been a catastrophic event for them. But instead, they are able to walk away safer and better for that experience.
Over 25 years, we've got the better work stories for you, Neil. What is the most memorable work situation or emergency situation that you've been involved with during your time with AES?
Gee, I think, yeah, that's a really good question. You could ask that of everybody there, Brian. I think everyone would give you a different answer. The work is so diverse that, you just get a really different experience, and you get to be really close and hands-on. So with some people, it's quite an intimate setting. We are helping someone through something. With others, it might be that something's exploded and it's a bit of an adrenaline rush. So one of the things I can think of was actually one of the caretakers on the golf course was in a tractor and actually rolled down the bank into the creek by the harbour there and was pinned by the tractor. And we had an incoming tide, and we had to get a 20-ton tractor clear of this gentleman so we could then carry him out and up the hill. So that's probably one of the more interesting ones I can think of off the top of my head.
Because when you say AES, and I'm just assuming, but you've already said that it's not just with fire and emergency, but also when you're covering a space as big as 1,500 hectares, there's so many different situations that you can be involved with. For anyone that is for people that are tuning in this afternoon, Neil, and they're this is like piquing their interest. It's like, man, this is something that I'd actually like to do. What would you say? What would be the advice to them before they go and look at either taking part in one of the preparatory boot camps and that?
Yeah, so Brian, I guess the first thing is to understand who we are, and we are quite a big unit, at 50 plus firefighters already, and we really want to be diverse in our look and our mindset. So that is part of who we are. We work in 4 teams, so they work really close knit and they work 24 hours a day. So you become almost like family, So you have to really love working in a team and being part of a growth family. So that's the first piece. The next piece, if you're still interested after that, is to jump on the website. So Google Auckland Airport and look at Join AES, and there'll be a host of information, some videos there. There's the opportunity to book those boot camps, and there's also the job application open through that way. So that would be a good starting point. From the boot camps, we don't only just get physical with people, we do also have staff there so they can answer questions, talk to you about what they love about the roles. It creates a bit of a social connection as well as the actual physical connection there.
Well, a very big thank you, Chief AES Officer at the Auckland International Airport, Neil Swailes. Neil, very interesting, and thank you so much for your time today. Again, very big congratulations on your 25th anniversary, and all the very best. Take care. Have a great day.
Yeah, thanks, Brian and Whānau.
It is.